Hi everyone, my name is Enes Chukwemeka. I'm the partnership specialist at Pay for Me app, a cross-border payment for international students in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Cameroon, and other emerging markets. You can find schools, find study loans from us, and even get cross-credit building from our app. Today we have something special for you. I don't know if you've heard about Czech Republic. People that want to study abroad, I know they are going to the UK, the United Kingdom, sorry, the US, and the rest. When it comes to Czech Republic, what comes to your mind? Today we have a special guest, a Nigerian studying for his PhD in Czech Republic, Prague, to be specific. Welcome, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself? Then we can dive in.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I have my bachelor's degree in pharmacy from University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and I also have my master's degree with the Pan African University with a fully funded scholarship offered by the African Union with some other research grants. After which I proceeded to do some work with Afro University. I lectured and I also work as a researcher, where we had some breakthroughs in some drug development and. I think it's just the best for me to proceed for my PhD. And when I got the opportunity with Czech Republic, actually Shas University, because of their facility and their history of IOCB with drug development with industry, I just had to jump on. It was the best for me. So I put on with that.
Okay, people decided to go to the US, Canada, Australia, these big fours. Why did you pick Prague?
Well, Prague stood out for me because of the one thing I've always loved is the opportunity to be able to transition within the industry and also the academy and also the research. I want something translational, not just tabletop research that we just sit on the table as a dissertation, but something that could actually proceed to developing drugs because that is my passion, and that's exactly what IOCB offered me, which is Institute of Organic Chemistry and Biochemistry. They collaborate directly with pharmaceutical industry like Gilead, and they have track record of producing different drugs in market, including tenofovir, which is for HIV/AIDS and hepatitis, and some other drugs. So immediately I see that offer. For me, it's more of what I want than where it is. So immediately I see that offer, it was the best thing for me. And also for me in Czech Republic, actually, have a very good landscape, very well situated. It gives me access to all the EU countries and the like. So it was just it for me. It offers me the best. I think.
We hear that Prague is similar to Paris when it comes to beauty. How true is that?
Well, yeah, it really depends on what you're looking for. But I can tell you yes with my experience because, of course, I've also been to some other countries in the EU, and I can tell you yes because looking at Prague has some uniqueness, which is their history and the infrastructure. What do I mean by that? For example, the Prague Castle, it's on the Guinness World Record, is the largest castle in the world. I mean, so that's you have that, and also they have the astronomical clock is the oldest in the whole world. So as a result of that, Prague serves as a very good attraction center for tourists and also for a lot of things. And also the landscape is very good. The environment is very eco-friendly because I mean, even their transport system, everything is just very nice and very perfect. So I can tell you that, yeah, it compares to that in my own view.
Okay, how did this journey begin? You know, coming to Europe to study. Can you share your story with us?
Uh, well, yeah, for me, just like I said earlier, my passion has always been discovering drug and having this drug to be able to help people. That informed the choice of my undergraduate study in pharmacy. That informed the choice of my master's degree. And one thing I've done all along the way is that all my research, right from undergraduate to masters and everything, has always aligned. Has always been on the same thing: drug discovery. So that has been my journey, and also it basically started post bachelor's when others, of course, because for pharmacy you go for your internship when everybody was busy sorting life for internship. I had always thought ahead. I'm always ahead of the game. At that time I was already planning and applying for scholarship. In fact, by the time I was starting my NYSC, I already have my master's scholarship with me, which I used for my master's study. So the whole journey, graduated from my university, I already knew what I wanted to do. So I went for it. I planned. I processed all my application, researched all my options, and then went for it. So that has just been it in summary for me.
Okay, talking about studying in Europe, anywhere in the world, the challenge has always been funding, finances. You've gotten a lot of fundings and grants. Can you share some of this with us?
Uh, yes, the major challenge most time for studying outside, especially for Africans, for Nigerians specifically now, has always been the funding because by the time you compare the value of an naira to the euros or the dollars you're paying with, it's a whole lot, and it takes a whole lot. But for me, one thing for me is that I've always said is either scholarship or no or scholarship. I don't have any other backup because I sponsored largely myself through universities, my undergraduate, I mean. So because of that, I already knew the only way for me to proceed is scholarship. So I just had to put everything in to get scholarships. And securing funding in Europe, it's tricky, but it's not hard. You just need to put in the work because there are a lot that you could get. For example, I could categorize it in like four basic groups. One is the government scholarships that they are being offered by different governments of the country. For example, the shared government scholarship, which closed September 30th. We have the Slovakia government scholarship, which is still on and would close, I think, around October 31st. We have the Portuguese government scholarship, which closed in September as well. We have things like the Swiss government scholarship, IFRO in France, and the like. And the other ones also is the EU-sponsored funding, like the Erasmus, which is very popular and almost anybody and everybody would know about. We also have some like the MSc PhD fellowship, which is also a very prestigious but very competitive one, really. And some other source of funding, it could also include the university base in which the university and the department basically offer scholarship to people. And also we have the research-based one in which majorly for PhD and for some masters, they advertise the position, then the person apply, and the principal investigator who has already gotten grants for that basically take care of the school fees and also pays you stipend from it. And there are some that are very peculiar or specific to Central Europe, for example, the VIS grad, VISE grad, which offers funding opportunity for Africans and some other people that are coming to Central European countries like Czech, Slovakia, and some other countries like that in Central Europe. So generally, research, especially if it's research, it's well funded, whether master's or PhD, it is well funded in Europe. The thing that the person, the aspirant, just need to do is to do his homework, to do his research. Then he would be able to know which one fits for him and be able to go for it. But there are thousands of it. Don't let me say millions, but I believe there are more than millions actually. But there are thousands of them really that are available just for the person to research. And getting these scholarships, of course, they are giving you millions of dollars. So you're not just going to sleep on your bed and they come drop it off on you. You need to work for it. You need to do the research. You need to research what you want, and then you'll be able to get it.
All right, that's awesome. Now, talking about the application process, what is it like? Like for a student who wants to come to Prague now, maybe to Charles University or the rest, what are the processes involved?
Well, basically, the person will need to apply to the school. But first and foremost, what I usually tell people is you need to research the course you want to study. You need to have clarity of what you want to do. You want to have a course in maybe molecular biology, know that you're going for molecular biology. You want to have a course in bioinformatics, know that when you identify the field you want to study, then you could then start preparing your CV and your motivation letter. then you need to tailor it down to the school and to the place you are applying. Because, for example, the format of CV for a school in US is totally different from the ones in Europe. There is the Europass format, which is generally acceptable and well acceptable and generally used in most European countries, including Czech Republic, Charles University specifically. So you go to the Europass website and input your data, download the format, then do some basic editing to make it, to tailor make it into what you want. That is one. And also your cover letter, generally called the personal statement or statement of purpose, you need to also tailor it to the department or to the lab you're applying to. It needs to stand out. It needs to be unique. It needs to tell your story. And not just telling stories, but also highlighting your strength and the things you wish to learn or acquire from how the program is going to be beneficial to you. You need to show them that I am worthy of your investment. Nobody is just going to invest money on you. You need to prove it that I am worthy of this investment. And then you need to also importantly link it to how it aligns to their goal and also how it's going to benefit your own country and the whole world at large. So that eventually is going to help your CV, your motivation letter, and importantly, your recommendation letter. You need to have a good rapport with the recommender to be able to give you a very strong recommendation letter, not just that he's a good boy, he's a good girl, he's hardworking in this. No, they need to prove it with examples. I supervised them in this project. He carried out this experiment. I really didn't need to supervise him. When I give him instruction or discussion, he grabs it easily and he demonstrated it by doing this, and that. They need to give examples. That is like them vouching for you that he asked what it takes, she asked what it takes, and she can actually conduct research independently. So those are the key things I believe will stand the person up.
Okay, we have mature students, those from 35 years to 40 years, who wants to study in Prague. Now, what are the chances of doing this?
It's very well possible because see here, one of the things I have observed is they are more keen on the skills you have and what you can offer, much more than your age or whatsoever, or even your grades. It's not the main thing for them, it's about the skill. And I would advise such person, one, I don't, it depend, it's always case dependent, but that such person should invest in skills, both soft skills and lab skills. For example, speaking for science field now, you should, for example, you want to apply for a course in drug discovery, you should have good hands-on technique in things like maybe molecular biology and some wet lab skills. And if you into computation, in fact, having that computational skill could be an additional advantage for your computational drug discovery skill. It could be an advantage for you. So you need to have skills. You need to volunteer in labs or if the person is possibly not working in a place at that age. I expect, of course, with that, the person should have some meaningful work experience. But if the person is not working, maybe he's doing some other work that is not related to the research he wants to come for, he needs to volunteer in labs where he could be able to acquire these skills. Also, publication is another important thing because you tell them you have this skill, anybody can say it. They need a proof, and the proof is your publication that I have used this technique to be able to carry out this project. And of course, it has been peer reviewed and it has been accepted. So eventually that convinces them that you have the skill, you are worthy of the investment. And just like I've said, all what they are looking for is not your age, it's not your profile, it's not your grade, it's not the. They want to know, are you worthy of our investment? I'm going to invest millions of euros into you. Are you worthy of it? Do you have something to pay it back to the system? So that is what they are looking for. So if anybody's above that age, he could as well still apply and he will get it. I have people who are well above that age and they got PhD offers. Really.
Okay, that was very, very insightful. In Africa, most students have challenges of these publications. Now, for students who couldn't write a paper before they graduated, what is the way forward for this type of persons?
There are a lot. In fact, I'm always very interested in that because there are a lot they could do. For example, if it comes down first to you having good rapport with your supervisor. And I always tell undergraduate students, please don't cut ties with your supervisors. You need them. You need them. Don't cut ties with them because okay, you are not able to publish it, you could always reach out to them. I have a one of my colleagues where I was working at February University, someone that has done a project with his supervisor some years ago reached out to him that he needs to get this thing published to help his applications and the like. And this person, because he still works with the previous supervisor, he was a PhD student that was co-supervising him at that time. Most time the PhD student guides the undergraduate students and things like that. So he reached out to this person, and then the person reached out to the supervisor. They were able to pull these things together to publish. They published it about 3 months ago or so, and they are currently working on another project that is publishable. What I'm trying to say is that you cannot separate your good relationship with your mentors or with the PhD student in the lab you did your project, or with your direct supervisor. You cannot cut it off. If such person have good relationship with the student, with the PhD or postdoc in the lab when he was doing his undergraduate research, he could always reach out and they could publish it together. That is one. Two, your supervisor always have a lot of work that they've done, but he or she doesn't have that much time to write. You could offer that. Is there anything that you could do that you would really like to immerse yourself in research? Is there any way that he or she, that means the supervisor, feel you could contribute to his or her lab, and they will tell you, oh, I have this paper, write it for me and the likes. I have this. Could you pull this data together and the like? So there are always means to explore. And another option is also volunteering in labs. For example, you have different labs who runs independently some things. For example, in Ado, I have Most and Sims in Ado Ekiti, which I sometimes recommend people to, and it has always been helpful. So volunteering in this lab, and also I think there's the Drosophila lab in Ibadan too as well, which I know very well. They take interns voluntarily, and many others really across Nigeria that I cannot mention. Even NIMA takes people sometimes. So they could always build themselves up out with this and then have some more publications.
Okay, you've been talking about STEM courses for this is, the labs and the rest. What about those who are not into STEM programs? What is their fate when it comes to studying in Prague or Europe?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of opportunities for them to. Just that I am picking on STEM because I could give practical examples on those things. But I have friends too who are in non-STEM field. I have someone in law that is here. I have another person in I think she's in humanities and the like. So there are a lot of opportunities. But I am speaking, and most of these scholarships, the same way you research STEM is the same way you research them. But I'm making reference to STEM because I could give practical examples and practical skills. For example, in field like humanities, I may not be able to say, okay, these are the skills you need. These are the things you need to be able to get in. For example, in science, you need skills, hand-on skills on molecular biology and things like that. I could mention that, but in that, I could not be able to mention it. That's why I didn't really mention them. But I have friends who are in that field and who has gotten in. And most of these scholarships does not really, they do not limit it to STEM. For example, the shared government scholarship would not tell you that it's only for STEM. All the courses are there. So you just need to go there, apply to the school, apply to the course, reach out to potential supervisors, and then be able to get your way in. So they really, really have opportunities for them too.
Okay, for students who don't have an idea of where to come to when it comes to Europe, studying in Europe, why is Czech Republic an amazing place to study?
Wow, that is such a very amazing question, really, because Czech is unique because of many things, and I will just mention a few. One, I've talked about on the social side, I've talked about the historical, this thing, and the beauty and the likes earlier. Now, coming to education, one is that you have opportunity to have very good hands-on skill. They usually don't take very large class, so when the class is being taught, especially the practicals, you have opportunity to operate the devices that they are telling you. It's not abstract. You get to hold and handle what you are dealing with. So it helps you to understand better. One. Two, you have access, at least so far during my stay here, I have access to most of these professors and these lecturers. I could always I send mails to them, they reply. I meet them one on one, we talk. I mean, outside of the class, we talk, okay, about this, about that, and we talk, we chat about it, really. So they are very open and very friendly and very receptive. Another thing is also that when it comes, for example, for someone that self-finance, Czech Republic is one of the countries or one of the places in EU and almost around the whole Europe, really, that their cost of living is very low. You don't need so much to live in Czech Republic and in Prague specifically. And also, even if peradventure the person does not have funding, it is affordable, really, because most of these schools you have school fees of about 1,002 euros compared to Netherlands where you pay more than 12, 15,000 euros per session. And in even some places, or a lot of courses really, not even some, the education is basically free. For example, I'll give the Faculty of Science generally in University of South Bohemia. You have, at least I know for biotechnology, I know for bioinformatics, I know for molecular biology, it's totally tuition free. So even if you come, if you do not have funding, if you do not have scholarships, what you just need to take care of is how you're going to live. And there are jobs you could easily get, work on, and be able to sustain yourself with it.
All right. How do you transition from study to work? How easy is that?
And well, here it's not a problem really, because even when you're studying, if you can combine it, you are free to work. So if you are now done with your study, you have opportunity to work. Just that your permit, you still have to have dates on your permit. And then when you're working, you get opportunities, maybe with your employers and the like, to be able to extend your permit. So it's all come down to, I would say, you being able to network well, you being able to open up to people and let people advise you right. You don't, one advice I really give people is when you come here, you don't hold yourself in and just go on your own. You're going to miss out on a lot. You need to integrate, you need to network with people such that you get the right information on how to go about things. Every country has a specific way they actually deal with their own integration and getting things done. But I would say, even as a student, you can work. And when you're even done studying, you can work. So working is not a problem. Getting a job is not a problem. Now, the only thing that could be there is just like in every other country, when you're done with your study, how do you go about it? But there is no single rule like this is how it is really. But there are many routes. One, if you, for example, if you study PhD and the research you did or the research you conducted really contributes or have the potential to contribute to Czech government, whether in science, in innovation, in art, or whatsoever, you can request for a permanent resident based on that. And also, when you, if that you do not take that road, maybe you're done with your master's within a year or two, and you have a job that you're working, you could always discuss with this organization, and they could be there to give you a form of formal employment, and you could use that to file for an extension of your resident permit. So there are many options. It just depends on whichever situation you find yourself in.
All right. Thank you very much. These are insightful points. Now, what word do you have for people who wants to come to Europe to study? That's the final question I have for you today.
Well, I would say if you are coming to Europe to study, and especially, I would firstly say if you're coming to Europe to study, please come to Czech Republic, come to Spa, come to Prague. That's the first thing I would say. But then also, when coming to Prague, really, one, you need to open yourself up to ideas. You need to be flexible. Uh, EU or Czech is not like our distance. So you will see a lot of changes. I mean, cultural shift and the like. You just need to integrate well. It's not your country. You need to just set to your head and come. And also, please, when coming, I would say, because this was a big trouble, there is big temperature difference. Get yourself ready, get yourself prepared. I came in from 33 degree to -10. It was a big shock, but you, of course, you adjust to that as time goes on. Also, network with people, speak with people that are already here, and don't limit it to speaking with people of your country alone, or people of Africa alone. Speak with people that are of this country or of other EU countries. They will be able to give you ideas and tips that will actually help you to scale your PR eventually on the long run. Be open to ideas, be flexible, and yeah. just carry your mind, be willing to work 2 years. Well, of course, I believe I don't want to assume, but I don't think there's anybody that will want to call me all the way from our side and will not be willing to work. Please be open to work, be open to ideas, and we are going to try for it. That's all I have to say.
All right, Emmanuel, you didn't really introduce yourself to us. Now, our audience wants to know who Emmanuel is. Tell us all those things you've won and what you currently do.
Okay, yeah, okay. If I would try to tell it as a story, well, to start with, during my bachelor's degree in UI, I lost my dad in the first year actually. So I already knew it's either I get scholarships or I get scholarships to be able to sustain. I don't have any other means. So that was when my scholarship hunting started. It was almost 12, 13 years ago now. And yeah, during my undergraduate, I won about 4 or 5 scholarships, including the prestigious Shell Scholarship and the FSB Scholarship, with so many others in which I used to support myself during my undergraduate study. After which, also because of my passion for drug discovery, I had to quickly, even during internship, before NYSC really, I had to apply for the Pan African University Scholarship, which was sponsored by the African Union. It was it is the most prestigious on the African soil actually, and very nice, very competitive. I mean, very very competitive. They usually just select one person per country for any of the courses, and I was the only one selected then, which was a big win for me. So doing that, I got that funding for 2 years for my master's degree. After which I decided to, like any other person or every other person to do, I decided to explore the industry. Uh, to go to academia and industry. Of course, I wanted industry, so I went to the research institute, the Institute of Drug Research and Development in Afro University, and I just seconded as a lecturer in the faculty in the College of Pharmacy. So I was able to have very good hands-on skills and experience and trainings in drug discovery, both computational and also molecular techniques, and also some other wet lab techniques, in vivo and in vitro. So with that, I was able to actually have a good sight and a good taste of what drug discovery process looks like. And so with that, I was just thinking, okay, I think I need to proceed for my PhD. And when I scouted and thought and I applied, I saw this offer here in Czech Republic. It was irresistible because of the things it offers. One, aside the fact that it is fully funded for me, I also got extra fellowship. They call it the STARS fellowship. It's like the most prestigious in the whole Charles University because it's offered by the school in addition to the normal PhD or whatever scholarship you have already. So basically, I have the one from the school. I have the STAR fellowship. I have the one from the faculty, which is payment from the faculty for PhD students. I have the staff fellowship, which is an award from this university, and not, I think about 20 or so from the whole university that was given. And I also have, of course, my research grant with my PI. So that looks like all of it for me, but I must add that one thing that I see that helped me and which would be my advice for the people that could listen to this later or that are listening to me now is that please keep hope alive. Just any African boy like you, like any other person. In fact, I could say worse than you. Talking about my background, which is not for yet, but I kept the hope alive. It saw me through undergraduate, it saw me through, and since then, I have never spent a dime on education, not a single kobo. Education has been the one paying me, not me paying education. And it could be the same for you. Just need to put in it and you're going to get it. So that is the fun.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. We are glad you came. This was insightful. Thank you so much.